right. So we all go through these times where we are pregnant. We don't understand what's going on with our body. We know we want to know what to expect. So I'm here today to talk to you about my first trimester symptoms. And this is not something that is always going to be on my channel because most of it's going to be breastfeeding, lactation related content. But I have had a lot of people who have asked me how I've been doing this first trimester. And as I wrapped up my first trimester a week or two ago, I wanted to share what it was like for my third pregnancy, my first trimester. Without further ado, here we go. All right. So I actually found out that I was pregnant around the first possible time. I was about 13 days past ovulation. And I found out that I was pregnant because I took a pregnancy test. We were trying to conceive, and it was our first month trying. So we were very blessed in that aspect. I know that there are a lot of people who have been trying for a long time, and sometimes it does take time. And I just want to acknowledge that for anybody who's trying to have a baby, there are a lot of things you can do, a lot of things you can check. But for us, it was very quick. It's happened like that with all of my pregnancies. Within the first couple of months, I was able to conceive, and that's great. But it also comes with like immediately starting all of the pregnancy symptoms. So when I found out that I was pregnant, I was not having any symptoms, and I just knew that it was a possibility. So I went ahead and tested early. I tested several days in a row just to make sure that my HCG levels were getting stronger. So I continued to test. And then about 3 days after I tested, I let my husband know that we were pregnant. And of course, that was exciting. And this potentially being our last baby, we, I recorded I tried to record his reaction, but he knew what was going on. And he actually was like, well, I was going to ask you, because he was prepared for that. Well, I wanted to show you something.
Oh, okay.
Is it, what?
Go ahead.
What?
You've already given away what happened.
I just wanted to see your reaction to it. Wait. It's kind of faint. You have to look at it.
I did look at it.
No, I want to see your reaction. Did you see it?
I'm 3 for 3.
3 for 3. So that whenever I found I was pregnant, we count that as 4 weeks pregnant, because I was actually only 2 weeks pregnant, but then the 2 weeks prior was, from my last menstrual period. So I was really 2 weeks from conception, but 4 weeks pregnant at this time. I was not experiencing any symptoms whatsoever, and not the case with my last 2 pregnancies. I pretty much knew right away I started experiencing symptoms, but I also, with my first pregnancy, I got a couple of negative tests because I took tests that needed a higher HCG level. So this time I ordered some very inexpensive pregnancy strips, and I prepared myself to have 50 strips, which I really didn't need. So that's why I did use them. So yeah, that's what I did. Okay. So fast forward 2 more weeks, I was 4 weeks past conception, 6 weeks pregnant. I began to have a lot of nausea, like that overall day-to-day, like I couldn't get through the day because I just felt ick. So I would try to get work done. I'd try to do anything. I just couldn't push through the day without really being so overwhelmingly exhausted and just feeling overall like I had a hangover almost. Obviously wasn't drinking, but had a hangover. So it's just that feeling of your body really going through that hormone shift. My need for food consumption was there, but I didn't really feel like eating. So I know a good tip that a lot of people use is to, before you get out of bed, you put the snacks by your bed, like maybe a handful of nuts or a protein bar or something, put that next to your bedside. And before you even get up in the morning, you eat that, and then you drink a little bit of water and you start getting things going, you get your metabolism going, and that can help curb the nausea. But for me, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't eat anything at all. And I decided I was going to just push through. But when I did eat, I felt better for a couple of hours afterwards. So breaking it into smaller meals was good, but I just couldn't find anything really good to eat. So during weeks 6 to 8 was really when I started feeling that intense nausea, not to the point of getting sick, and also the exhaustion. I was napping every single day that I could. The weekends, of course, and then the days that I wasn't like going into an office, even like doing some remote stuff from home, I was actually taking naps during lunch. It helped me significantly to get through the day. It was what my body needed, and I was listening to that. All right, so that was the end of nausea and really the end of the exhaustion too. So it was really 2 weeks of that. So then I get into 6 weeks past conception or 8 weeks pregnant. And I started to think, well, is everything okay? Because I didn't have any symptoms. I didn't feel pregnant at all. Well, at around 7.5 weeks, I did go ahead and get a sonogram. That was the early sonogram. They could see the yolk sac. They could see the baby. They could get the heartbeat. The heartbeat was 129, which is lower because in those first few weeks, the heartbeat is lower. So I just kept plugging along, like having the faith that everything was going well. I wasn't having any signs that I wasn't pregnant, like bleeding or severe cramping or anything, but I just didn't feel pregnant. So I really was looking forward to getting some additional symptoms, if you will. And I know that sounds weird, but around 10 weeks, I began to start feeling more symptoms. And the main symptom that I felt was I started feeling very bloated. And then I also started feeling very full in the breasts, full to the point of for the next 4 weeks, I was in pain. Like I began to become in pain. They were itchy and you could tell they were growing significantly. So that was my next symptom was breast changes, which was encouraging to me as a lactation consultant because I know that this is how it works. This is it. Everything gets going early on in pregnancy, and that gives you the ability to have a successful pregnancy and a successful breastfeeding experience. So I was both encouraged and unfortunately not really excited about the pain I was feeling. And then at that point, a lot of times you go up a bra size. Thankfully, I didn't really need to at this point. I was still just mostly filling up my current bra size. As far as any other symptoms go, I have had no aversions to anything, which is so different from my first two pregnancies. My first two pregnancies in the first trimester immediately had an aversion to lettuce, pork, and coffee. Those were my 3 aversions, but nothing this time. As far as cravings go, nothing major. So no major cravings. I didn't really start showing either until just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm now almost, at the time of recording this, I'm almost 16 weeks pregnant, which I will show a picture of what I looked like when I first started popping about a week or so ago. And so when I first started popping, that's when I started documenting, and I feel like I've already gotten bigger from there. During my first trimester, I gained about 1 pound. I was a little up and down. I didn't gain anything for the first several weeks. And then about week 13, I gained 1 to 2 pounds, and I've kind of fluctuated between 1 to 2 and then lost back down a little bit. So I'm super encouraged by that because during my first 2 pregnancies, I gained a lot of weight. And I think it was quickly. I didn't really document it, so I'm just going off of what I remember. But I gained about 30 pounds during both pregnancies total. I'm a more petite person, but my BMI is not what you would call low. But being 5 foot, you don't get a lot of wiggle room there. So I'm 5 foot tall, if you didn't know that. And I generally weigh around, beginning of the pregnancy, I was around 137 pounds. So I've gained 1 to 2 pounds at this point and staying around that. Some things I'm doing to take care of my body. I am taking a supplement, a prenatal supplement, and it is by Mary Ruth's Organics. I was originally just using their regular liquid morning multivitamin because I had so much left over. That's what I normally take. And now I'm transitioning to the prenatal that they actually make. Another thing that I'm taking is vitamin D. I always take that regularly. I also take DHA, and I take that in the form of, there's a brand called Barlean's is the brand that I use. I can link it here below for you as well. It's a very good fish oil brand. And I take that daily when I can remember, because when I started feeling a little nauseous, I was very hit or miss with it. I also try to take a daily probiotic, and that's pretty much it for supplements. I'm trying to start drinking some red raspberry leaf tea towards the end of my first trimester is when I started that, around week 12 or so. And you can begin drinking that daily. So I'm trying to incorporate that. And then of course, lots and lots of water. I'm limiting my coffee and my caffeine intake. I just haven't really had a huge desire for coffee. It's not that I've had an aversion to it, just not a huge desire, but I am starting to get to where I want lattes more. So at this point, I may give into some of those cravings every now and then. All right, well, that kind of wraps up my first trimester symptoms, what I've been feeling, what I've been doing for my body, just lots of water, rest, and listening to my body. I have 2 older kiddos. I say older because they're almost 7 and almost 4, so they're not super needy. They go off to school and preschool, and they're not always needing me 100%. So I can literally take a nap in the day if I needed to, if they're home on a Saturday, and they're just fine. They come get me if something were to happen. But that's so nice this time around. And so it's great that I have a little gap in between. But I will say, if you're taking care of toddlers or other babies, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself too, and get that support system going early so that you can prioritize taking care of your body while you're pregnant. I hope that you liked this video. Stay tuned for a second trimester video. Of course, that'll be a couple months away before I post that. And if you like videos about pregnancy in particular, I do have a few more pregnancy videos planned to go even on my breastfeeding counselor page. But I think it's important that we start talking about breastfeeding early, and we start talking about pregnancy, and we keep it all kind of wrapped up together. So I'm very excited to share this video with you. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I'd love to join in with you. And please subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any questions, or you want to leave a comment about your pregnancy symptoms that you've been having. So I'd love to hear from you. I do read every comment. I do look at every email that I get. So I'm very excited when I get those to come through from my fans. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Bye for now.